Welcome back, everybody, to Even Your Dynasty Show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty Show. We are back with our weekly minor league update, talking all Giants affiliates and farm system. So we're going to just go ahead and just jump right into it, starting off with the Sacramento River Cats, who went 4-2 versus Oklahoma City, which is the Dodgers affiliate. So at least the Giants are, taking care of the Dodgers somewhere. Number 2 prospect, Marco Luciano, he went 6 for 26, hit 2 home runs, including one that went like 464 feet. Both pull side home runs. That's, a positive development. It's something that I've always mentioned that, it's great having the power to center and right. He does need to at least pull the ball some to maximize his power, but 2 home runs, a triple, a double, 6 walks, and 6 strikeouts. So solid week overall. The power has been there. He's not hitting for a high average. I believe he's hitting about 220 right now. But overall, if you look at him relative to league average, he's at 108 WRC plus, which means he's 8% better than the league average in AAA. So certainly not forcing the issue, but he is playing solid down there. Overall, the defense is still a work in progress, but nice to see the power. I mean, he's quietly on about a 27 home run, 84 RBI pace down in AAA right now. So that is a very positive sign, and he's probably going to be down there for the majority of the season, if not the full season. They're going to have to make a decision on him after the season if he is still on the Giants. He's probably a trade candidate as a, kind of a sweetener in a deal. Not sure what his value would be given that it's his last option year. But, they might just be better off just letting him play out the year, seeing if he develops and go into next year and hope that he takes the next step. Because, I mean, he certainly has the potential still. Number 3 prospect, Carson Wisenhunt, 5 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs, 4 hits, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts, 88 pitches, 54 for strikes. This is the first start where the walks really were like a big issue. If he's walking hitters, like that's going to be a problem for him. His fastball, you kind of look at what he's done this season. His fastball has actually been his worst pitch, or his sinker, depending on what you want to classify it as. But the changeup's still really good. His slider is actually improved. There was a great thread that was going around on X, kind of talking about the difference in his slider. He's thrown it a little bit harder, a little bit sharper break overall, especially in like the last month. And his fastball's actually been his worst pitch, which that's fair. He only throws 92 to 95 with the fastball, so it does get hit around a little bit especially when he misses it in the fat of the zone. But it's a pitch designed to play off of his changeup, so it's pretty effective in that respect. Number 7 prospect, Grant McCray, 5 for 24 with a triple, 2 doubles, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. Still struggling to get going offensively, but the big positive I've seen out of Grant is seeing the stolen base total starting to climb up a little bit. He's down in double digits for the year, and you're seeing him run more frequently in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And, that needs to be his game. I mean, that's so much of his value is going to be derived from getting on base and stealing bases. He has some power, but, the strikeouts are certainly an issue. The hit tool is certainly questionable. The defense is great and everything. And right now you look at him and you think maybe this guy could be a really good 4th outfielder. And if he ever develops his hit tool, he could be a really good starter in the majors. But right now his ceiling, well, I shouldn't say ceiling, but right now it feels like he's trending towards being a 4th outfielder until he gets the K's figured out. Number 8 prospect, Trevor McDonald. He made 2 starts. The first one was pretty solid. Second one, he got lit up. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 93 pitches, 61 for strikes. McDonald's second start, he went 4 innings pitched, 8 earned runs, 9 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts through 81 pitches, 48 for strikes. The walks, I don't like to see that, obviously, but he really just got hit around. That was the biggest issue. in either of those, and had a hard time missing bats. Number 9 prospect, Mason Black, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 96 pitches, 49 of them for strikes. Not the most efficient outing, but 5 innings, 2 earned runs, that's still a solid start, all things considered. Carson Ragsdale did not pitch. He's off the injured list, but he didn't throw the entire week. Not sure what he might possibly be dealing with, but he did not pitch this past week. Number 24 prospect, Carson Seymour, seems to have bounced back. He had a handful of rough starts, but the last couple starts have been pretty solid. Through 6 innings, 1 earned run, 2 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Through 90 pitches, 51 of them for strikes. Hunter Bishop, he went 6 for 15, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. Solid week. He's not having a great year at the plate, sub 700 OPS. He's hitting about 230. He's probably a guy that we're going to be leaving off this list here in the near future if he doesn't start swinging a little bit. His future is probably going to be elsewhere. I would not be surprised if he's not in the organization by the end of the year or by next season. It's kind of where it seems to be trending. Aslavis Basabi went 6 for 13, a double, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a stolen base. He is somebody on the 40-man. He's not hitting a ton, but his defense is really solid. And they're just going to keep letting him get everyday at bats down there in Sacramento and see if the bat comes around a little bit, because he could be probably a pretty solid utility guy with his ability to play pretty high-end defense, especially up the middle. Moving over to Richmond, they went 1-5 versus Binghamton. They are 13-32 on the season. They might be the worst team in all of the affiliate levels, all the leagues. I mean, if the Rockies didn't exist in the majors, they might have the worst win percentage in all of pro ball. But number 1 prospect, Bryce Eldridge, he went 7 for 22, 2 doubles, a walk, 6 strikeouts. Continues to swing the bat really well in Double-A, and I won't be surprised if he's up in Triple-A before like the end of June or July. Number 10 prospect, Joe Whitman, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. He did give up 2 runs, but both were unearned. But 0 earned runs, 2 hits, 4 walks, and 11 strikeouts through 93 pitches, 54 for strikes. Joe Whitman is nasty. His slider is probably the second best pitch in the system behind Carson Wisenhunt's changeup. It's just so good. It gets both guys to buckle up, get them looking. It gets some ugly swings, gets guys chasing. It's really good. It's always been command with Joe Whitman. And when he's on, he's nasty. He threw 6 perfect innings a couple of weeks ago. He's gotten lit up. And a lot of times he gets lit up, he's just not commanding anything very well. So it's hard to know exactly, his future. Some of these other pitchers, you'll feel pretty good about the command and everything like that. With Whitman, it's been 2 straight years of, very much a roller coaster type performance where he has these incredible highs and then these lows where he just can't seem to find the zone. So we'll see. I think at worst, it feels like he could be a really high-end reliever. But you gotta be rooting for the guy to become a starter because he has some just nasty stuff, and he could be not necessarily a number 1, but I think he could be a number 2 or 3 if he tightens up all his command, because his stuff's really good. Diego Velasquez, number 13 prospect, went 5 for 20, a double, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Continues to, even his weeks where he doesn't hit a ton, he still is rock solid out there. So just a pro. I really like Diego Velasquez. I think everyone knows he's one of my favorite prospects in the system. Number 16 prospect, Sabine Ceballos. He seems to finally be coming out of his funk. He has been slumping hard since about the second week of the season, but he went 5 for 16 with 2 doubles and 3 strikeouts, including a double that flipped a game where they were down 1-0, getting no hit in the 8th inning. And he hit a 2-run double they'd drawn a couple walks, and then he hit a 2-run double in the 8th to break up the no-hitter, the shutout, everything. So it was good to see him hit some balls hard. He drove it a second double to right center field. So really good power, all parts of the field. Just been struggling really hard with Double-A pitching, but hopefully this is a sign. The last couple weeks, it seemed like he was starting to come out of it. This is the first really good week he had, so hopefully he can just keep that momentum going. Number 26 prospect, Trent Harris. The Even Your Dynasty show jinx was in full effect. I brought up how he had given up no earned runs last week, and I did follow that, saying he'll probably get shelled in his next outing. He gave up 3 earned runs in his following outing. Did appear in 2 games, 2 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. All of them were in the first outing. 3 hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts. So sorry, Trent. That one's probably on me, but still having a great year overall. Still think he's going to be at worst in AAA at the end of the year. I personally would love to see him in the Giants bullpen, but the Giants bullpen's been so good that really it's a case of how could you possibly take any of these guys out currently. Number 27 prospect, Averson Arteaga, 2 for 19, 7 strikeouts, pretty uneventful week. I've always said he's a glove first guy. He's not going to hit a ton, but he's going to have to hit more than he is if he's ever going to be a major league player. Great defender, though, at shortstop. Number 28 prospect, Jack Choate, 4 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts through 90 pitches, 56 for strikes. You'd like to see him get through at least 5, but was pretty inefficient. And overall, couldn't put hitters away sooner. So it is what it is. But Jack's actually had a really good year in Double-A. I've kind of brought up. I like his kind of that lazier delivery, little low 3/4. Fastball seems to have a lot of good ride. The breaking ball can miss some bats and get some strikeouts looking. Has kind of a Bumgarner-esque, pitch mix. Obviously not the same delivery, but just kind of the mix. It's kind of reminds me a little bit of Mad Bum, but we'll see. He's well, as time will tell. But I like his stuff overall. I think he's got a future as a major leaguer. I don't know if he'll be as a starter or as a reliever. That's always a question with a lot of these guys. He does tend to fight his command quite a bit, but overall, I like what I've seen out of him this season. Jairo Pomares, he was a guy that I was adamant I felt deserved to be up in AAA earlier in the year. He played the whole year in AA, was off to this great start in the first month of the year, and he's fallen off a cliff about the last month. 2 for 15, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean he's made some loud contact in there. I mean everything's finding gloves, but he's in a deep funk right now. And then Adrian Sagasti, he went 3 for 14, a double, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts last week. Great arm, though. He's thrown a couple runners out. I think he leads the Eastern League in runners caught stealing from behind the plate. That is one thing I've mentioned. The Giants system right now, I will stand on the fact that I don't really view any of their current catchers in the system as potential starters. But that said, the Giants, even including Bailey up in the majors, obviously, but down the line in their system, that is a one tool that you see consistently with their catchers. These guys have cannons. They pretty much lead the league in caught stealings at almost every single level. So, and the percentages that these guys have are like up in 40%, over 50% caught stealings, which is kind of unheard of in today's game. So pretty crazy. I do think several of them have opportunities to be solid backups. Sagasti being one of those guys, but yeah, unfortunately they don't hit a ton. So that's probably going to be the pitfall for those guys as far as becoming starters. Moving over to High A, Eugene, they went 4-2 versus Vancouver. They're now 23-22 on the season. Number 4 prospect, James Tibbs, the power's showing up. He went 5 for 19, 3 home runs, a triple, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. A lot of that damage came in one game where he went 3 for 4 with 2 homers and a triple. You guys probably saw the short I posted the other day. He continues to, the strikeouts were a bit high this past week. It's first kind of week where the strikeouts have really been an issue, so to speak, but he still walks a ton. He still has elite plate discipline. His batting average on balls in play is a paltry 241 right now. He makes a lot of hard contact. You would expect that number to come up at some point. So he's hitting 231 on the season. I don't think he's going to be hitting 230 at the end of the year. I feel like the luck does even out eventually. He still has more walks than he does strikeouts on the year. Um, Overall, I mean, he's having a good year. There's this narrative around him, and I brought it up last week, but there's this narrative around James Tibbs that he's having a bad season, and people are looking at him like he's this disappointment. And you look at his WRC plus right now, and he's a 128 WRC plus in Eugene. He has been 28% better than league average while having some of the worst luck in the entire league. So it's good to see the power starting to show up. I think that's everybody expects him to be this super advanced prospect that's just going to rip through the system. I felt like, when they drafted him, they talked about him being one of the more pro ready prospects. I had that expectation a little bit. Probably need to pump the brakes on that a bit. But I do think we need to all remember that he's only 22 years old. He's not going to turn 23 until after this season. So he's going to play this whole season as a 22-year-old. If he at least gets up to double A and doesn't look overmatched in double A, to me, that's a very successful season. The average age for players to debut in the majors is between 24 and 25 years old. So that would bring him up into next year with experience in double A and 23 years old. He'd be right on track. So I think we all need to relax a little bit when it comes to Tibbs. He's having a good season overall. Hopefully the luck kind of evens out, because if the luck evens out, that's showing a dominance of the level as far as I'm concerned, because the walks and strikeouts are both elite right now. His defense has been better than we all expected. Athletically, he's definitely a better athlete than most of us expected. A lot of times he was referred to as kind of a Conforto-esque defender out there. Like, he's not a great defensive player. He doesn't have good foot speed, doesn't always take the best routes. And what I've seen is that, for what I can tell, the routes have looked fine. He hasn't made an error this season. He's thrown out 3 different runners. He has a great arm in right field. He robbed a couple home runs last week. I've seen him make some really nice sliding catches, running catches. He looks comfortable out there. He definitely doesn't look like a problem. And I think that's the main thing. So I think he's going to be at least an average defender, not going to steal you a bunch of bags. So, most of his value is going to have to come from hitting, but I don't think he's this big negative on the other parts of the ball like he was kind of made out to be when he got drafted. I think he's been better than we expected in that regard. Moving over to number 14 prospect, Bo Davidson, who probably had his worst week as a pro. Doesn't change my opinion on Bo. I think he's awesome, but he went 1 for 19, a home run, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts, and a stolen base. So really struggled last week. Happens. Guys are going to have bad games, bad weeks, bad months. They might have bad seasons. That's part of baseball. It's a hard game, and he had a rough week against Vancouver. Number 18 prospect, Josh Bosick, went 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, threw 76 pitches, 42 of them for strikes. Number 23 prospect, Jonah Cox, 3 for 19, a home run, a double, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 4 stolen bases. He's up to 21 on the season. This is a guy that sold 50 bags last season. He's well on his way to stealing 50 plus again this season. So maybe a potential of like 4th outfielder type, 5th outfielder type. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the kind of guy that I think he's going to ultimately end up being. A guy that's going to steal you a ton of bags, has a little bit of pop, could be, a guy that gets a handful of starts throughout the year and gets used often as a defensive replacement and pinch runner. Quinn McDaniel went 5 for 19, 2 doubles, a walk, 10 strikeouts. We're going to see a few of these guys coming up here. There were a couple guys that struck out a lot this week against Vancouver. Most guys did, because Tibbs already struck out 7 times. Bo was 9. McDaniel struck out 10 times. Jonah Cox struck out 8 times. Charlie Zacconi, he's next on my list. 3 for 20, a home run, a double, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, and a stolen base. It's kind of a trend. Eugene was whiffing a lot this last week. So Scott Bandura, he had one of the better weeks. So 8 for 19, a home run to tie a game in the 9th. They ultimately ended up losing that game, but home run in the 9th, clutch one to tie it up. 2 doubles, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 3 stolen bases. Been a great player this year for High A Eugene. I anticipate him, if he continues what he's doing, there's probably 3 or 4 guys that I could see getting promoted from Eugene up to Richmond at some point, maybe mid-season, June, July-ish, where, June's only a few days away. Maybe we see it then. But Scott Bandura has definitely been one of the guys that is playing his way to to Richmond right now. Shane Rodemacher, he had probably his worst start of the season, first big hiccup of the year. 4 1/3 innings, 5 earned runs, 8 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout through 84 pitches, 56 of them for strikes. And Zane Zielinski, he went 3 for 23 with a walk and 10 strikeouts. So it was another guy that whiffed a lot this last week. Moving over to San Jose, they went 4-2 versus Fresno. They are 25-20 on the season. Number 6 prospect, Dakota Jordan, 8 for 21, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. He's now up to 17 on the year for stolen bags. That's been I actually, he had this reputation getting drafted that wasn't very instinctual on the base paths. Not a great stolen base threat, but had this like prodigious power. Going to hit a ton of homers. And honestly, my expectation for him coming into the year was that we were going to see a lot of home runs, a lot of power. But I didn't expect to see a ton of stolen bases. I thought maybe he would push 15 to 20 at the end of the year. And I figured we were going to see a lot of strikeouts. And that was my expectation. But the defense has been much better than I think most of us expected. He actually has a strikeout rate at 24.1%. And he's only hit 2 home runs, but he's stolen 17 bags. So it's actually, to me, more promising because he hits the ball hard. He uses the middle of the field a lot, goes the opposite way, hits a lot of hard line drives. And I do think at some point they'll get, as he gets more experienced against different levels of pitching, I do think he's going to start, getting the ball in the air a little bit more. I would like to see it. With his speed, it's hard because you don't necessarily want him hitting the ball in the air all the time. It's okay for him. I saw him hit one that was kind of a squiver to the second baseman. He beat it out. Like, he's got great speed. But that said, he also has 80 grade raw power. So as much as I'd love to just say, hey, be a speed guy, it's fine. He's got some of the most insane power in the entire system. So you'd kind of like to see him utilize that. But overall, he's having a very promising start to his career. Number 20 prospect, Robert Hipwell. He went 3 for 15, a triple, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Seems to finally have turned the corner on his season. He was really struggling for much of the year, and I feel like the last 3 weeks he's been really solid and getting on the right track now. Number 25 prospect, Jacob Bresnahan, 3 innings, 0 earned runs, 2 hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts. About 4 of his last 5 outings have been really promising. I said about a month ago I didn't see it with him. Other than the stuff was really good, but the command was all over the map. He's tightened that up a little bit, not walking as many guys, and now he's kind of whittling that ERA down in San Jose. He is only 19, so he's very raw, has a lot of time to get going. Number 29 prospect, Lisbel Diaz, 6 for 28, a double, a walk, 6 strikeouts. He's also another guy that's struggled for about 3 or 4 weeks now. Hopefully he can get going again because I like his hit tool. I like his bat to ball skills. He has some really nice power as well, although he hasn't really shown the power as much this season. Last season he showed it a lot more than this season. But overall, I like his game. Jacob Christian went 5 for 20 with a home run, opposite field home run, double, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Another guy that I could see getting up to Eugene in the not too distant future. Like Jacob, he's got one of my favorite power swings in the entire system. He's got great power to all fields, and he is big, so he's going to miss. He's going to have some swing and miss because he is 6'5", so that just kind of comes with the territory. But I really like his game. I think he's going to be really solid. Walker Martin, 2 for 22, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Swing and miss is still kind of an issue with Walker, but overall, he's kind of turned his season around. Tough week this week. Yesterday, it's going to be not going to be until next week's show, but yesterday he did go 2 for 5 with a grand slam. So the power is there, and we'll just keep an eye on him. I think he's a guy that could certainly use extra time in the lower levels to kind of get the right get in the right space or right, fundamental setup. I don't know, however you want to put it. Be best equipped for success in the upper levels. Because if you try and rush a player like Walker Martin or Dakota Jordan, they're probably going to get exposed, and you might destroy their confidence if you rush those guys. So those are a couple guys that I don't mind spending a little extra time in the lower levels. Xander Darby, 2 for 16 with 6 strikeouts. Pretty quiet week from him. Greg Ferrone went 3 innings, 6 earned runs, 8 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. That's kind of his third straight outing. That's been a little bit rough. Hopefully he can tighten it. A lot of command issues in the last couple outings. Hopefully he can tighten that up, because I loved what I saw for like the first month plus out of Ferrone. He really just attacked hitters, and it feels like he's kind of, I don't want to say nibbling, but he's just kind of missing right now. Nico Mazza, 4 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 5 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts through 75 pitches, 46 for strikes. And then Carlos Gutierrez, he went 8 for 24, a double, 6 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. He's also up to 17 on the year for San Jose. He just hits. He's 20 years old, so I wouldn't say old for the level, but he's kind of average age for the level, but he's really swinging it well. He's a guy that absolutely is going to need to be in Eugene, I think, by the end of the year. He's hitting over 330 on the season in San Jose. So for a game that there's less emphasis on batting average, it's fun when I get to see these guys that just hit, and that's what they do. And you get a guy like Carlos Gutierrez, who's just raking right now in San Jose. So good for him. Really solid week overall. Moving over to the Complex League, number 11 prospect, Rainer Arias. He went 5 for 15, a double, 3 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. I'm not going to have many highlights for these guys. Obviously, those games aren't really televised, so pretty limited access there. But number 12 prospect, Johnny Level, he went 5 for 22, a home run, a double, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Both of those guys that I just mentioned, I really like. Johnny Level in particular, his power is kind of sneaky, better than anyone expected. And I think he's a guy he can stick at shortstop potentially. Maybe he goes over to second base at some point, but I like the power speed combo with Johnny Level. Number 21 prospect, Oliver Tejada, he went 1 for 10 with a double, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Number 30 prospect, Argenis Kayama, 4 innings pitched, an earned run, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. He's given up 1 earned run in like 15 innings so far in the Complex League. He's been really good. He's 18 years old. If you see him continue throwing like he has for a couple months, you'll probably get to see him in San Jose at some point later this season. Jeremiah Jenkins continues his rehab. He went 3 for 11 with 2 strikeouts. And then Maui Ahuna finished up his rehab. Funny enough, on his Instagram, he posted a certificate the Giants printed out him for graduating his rehab assignment. But we haven't seen him in San Jose yet, but he did finish up in the Complex League last week. He went 4 for 15, 3 doubles, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. That's all I have for today for all the prospects. Don't forget, on Thursday, we are going to be doing our live show Thursday night, and we have a giveaway that's going to be happening. That is for Ricky on his Instagram account at sfgiantscove. The details for getting entered are there. The things I'm going to tell you is for sure you're going to need to be followed to his Instagram, sfgiantscove. You're going to need to be subscribed to the channel, and you're going to need to be in the chat during the video or during our live show, and you just have to comment. That's it. It doesn't matter, no specific word, phrase, or anything. You just have to comment in there and you'll get entered. But you are going to have to be in there when we do the drawing. So it is just something to keep in mind to be entered for that. But he's giving away a Hayden Birdsong signed jersey. So really cool item to get. So make sure you subscribe, you get entered, you do all the things. And then I believe you need to go on his Instagram, on his post, and tag 3 different people to try and, to expose them to the show or to his channel and all that stuff. So appreciate all you guys. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all the help and all the support and all the love you guys give us. It's fantastic. We wouldn't be doing this still if it wasn't for you guys. So go Giants, and we'll catch you next time.